Dari, first, apologies for the portrait video. My smartphone is still broken. Moving swiftly on, it's the beginning of November, and we're here to look at the temporary internet connection, which I have made a blog post about. Just showing you the two units that I've mentioned in the post, the first of which is the Huawei 4G router. This is a category 6 router, so this means to say that we can have download speeds of up to 300 megabits per second. Now, already in this area, I've had personal download speeds of up to 250 megabits per second, 250. And this is a capable unit. You'll see that it's connected via an Ethernet cable, at the back here, to the wonderful Mikrotik router, which really makes all the difference because of its customization and configurability. Now, the background to all of this is that in the olden days, 4G speeds were normally below 100 megabits per second, and so you could pretty much use slow Wi-Fi mechanisms like 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, and you could also use 100 megabit Ethernet ports because you were never going to get more than 100 megabits per second. But now things have actually improved, and we're in 2019, and like I say, the broadcast speed of the Play network that I'm currently operating with is, well, it's at least 250 megabits per second because that's what I'm receiving. So these units in front of you are gigabit capable, so that's 1,000 megabits per second. And so they are at least capable in theory of transmitting that faster network speed to your PC. In actual fact, even with the AC networking that I've got here, I'd still recommend plugging in your PC to one of these gigabit ports and using that instead. And the point of actually using the Mikrotik in the first place is that it's extremely configurable. So for example, just to give you a couple of tiny examples, you can actually specify, if you do use wireless, you can specify the 5 gigahertz frequency exactly that you use. So when you specify the band with a 5G network, a 5 gigahertz network, or even in fact a 2.4 gigahertz network, that's basically an offset to the frequency. But in the Mikrotik, you can actually specify the exact band, and you can also specify the width. So you can say, I want this band to be 5 gigahertz, say 5180 megahertz, and I want it to be 80 megahertz wide, or I want it to be 40 megahertz wide. You can even specify the shape of the curve. Do I want it to be a square wave type of a shape, or do I want it to be a maximum shape, which is that's a square wave, or do I want to make it more look like a sort of sine wave curve where the frequency band, the maximum amplitude is in the middle of the frequency. So it's just incredibly flexible. Of course, all this does entail a fair amount of knowledge, and so it's not for the faint-hearted. But I think if you get to the grips with Mikrotik, it is a fantastic product. So there it is, the two products, the Huawei router and the Mikrotik HAP AC, which is a gigabit capable router. And in part two of the explanation, I'll be looking at the USB port here, into which we can insert another 4G device. So that could be your phone, or it could be a USB dongle. And then in that respect, we could have a much more capable backup internet solution. In other words, you could have this unit here, let's call it a standard wired internet connection, and it could be feeding into this unit with a 4G backup just here. Okay, so you can use the same unit in this configuration where we're just talking about 4G, or in another configuration which I'm yet to describe, whereby it's the first port of call for your wired internet connection, and also it's got a separate backup 4G USB internet connection here. So that's in part two, but part one is just showing you the hardware as is. And by the way, these two aerials are optional. They do make quite a difference, so you need to order those separately. And on the back, you'll see you screw those aerials in, and you configure whether to use the internal aerials, the external aerials, or a mixture of both on the Huawei webpage, which is O was for this class of routers 192.168.8.1. That's 192.168.8.1. Okay, Dari, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.